and welcome back to the Cold Start Corner. I'm Eric Matei, and in this episode, we're transitioning into the second section of your financial forecast and feasibility analysis, which is revenue modeling. Now, as you'll recall, the purpose of your financial forecast and feasibility analysis is to answer all the financial questions that you and your banker have around your cold start. And this analysis, in conjunction with your strategic business plan, will establish that good, solid foundation from which to develop and launch your practice. Oh, and not to mention secure your financing from the bank. So what do you say we jump into today's topic, revenue modeling? So our goal here is simple, yet extremely complex. It's simple in that the purpose of the revenue modeling section is to identify and forecast your revenues from grand opening through month 36. So think of your 3-year revenue projection. Now, what makes this exercise rather complex is that it comes to be one enormous math problem. So let's jump right into it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to identify the 12 key variables that you're going to factor into your calculations when establishing the revenue modeling component of your financial forecast and feasibility analysis. And the first of these 4 sections is exams, and there are 4 key variables at play here. It's going to be doctor coverage. It's going to be exams per day. Now be sure that this number is inclusive of both your comprehensive exams and your medical exams. It's going to be your collections from your comprehensive exams and your collections from your medical exams, right? So again, these first 4 variables that we're going to be looking at, and by the way, assessing them at all time points from your grand opening to the end of year 1, end of year 2, and ultimately end of year 3. Understanding and identifying what your targets are for your doctor coverage per week, your exams per day, right? That daily capacity, that daily goal. Your collections per comprehensive exam, not what's being billed, but what's actually coming in, and likewise for your medical exam. So those together, those 4 key variables comprise this exams component of the calculation, right? So from here, we now venture into the optical. And there are going to be 2 key variables at play here. First and foremost is going to be your conversion rate, which some refer to as capture rate. Personally, I don't like the term capture, so we're going to refer to capture as conversion rate. So in the optical, we're talking about your conversion rate, percentage of your patients that are purchasing eyewear from you. And likewise, in lockstep with that variable is going to be, again, your average revenue per pair, or better yet, your collections per pair. So we touched on the 4 key variables in the exams. Then we got into optical, and we're talking about assessing optical conversion rates as well as average revenue per pair at grand opening, end of year 1, end of year 2, and end of year 3. So moving along from the optical, then we're going to get into your contact lens business. Now, contact lens, there's going to be 4 key variables at play here. Okay, so first and foremost is exactly what chunk of your comprehensive exams are being fit for contacts as well, right? So first and foremost is just that contact lens exam conversion rate, right? From here, we'll look at your professional fees, so your contact lens exam fees, and there's a lot of really fascinating stuff out here, particularly in the realm of specialty contact lens care, more advanced fitting, what have you. Next up is going to be what percentage then of your contact lens exams will then purchase contact lenses from your practice, right? And then last but certainly not least is going to be that revenue per dispense in the contact lens. So again, here in this contact lens section, just as you did with your exams and with your optical, you're going to want to look at your percentage of contact lens conversions, your average fees collected, your percentage of contact lens materials dispense, right? As well as average revenue per dispense, and look at that and assess that upon grand opening at the end of year 1, year 2, and year 3. Now, there's one more section not to be left out, and actually it's a very exciting section, and that is your specialty care, right? And look, if you don't think you're going to have a specialty right out the blocks, that's fine. You can leave it alone. But remember, our goal here in the Cold Start Corner is to really kind of, and particularly in these early stages, really kind of develop this picture of what the ultimate would look like. So whatever that specialty is, perhaps myopia, perhaps vision therapy, perhaps dry eye anesthetics, include it here. And the two key variables you'll want to be sure that are included in this section are going to be your patients per day or your engagements per day, again, for the specialty segment of the practice. And then last but not least is going to be your revenue per treatment or per billable cycle, what have you. So when you look at these 12 variables, right? Think about it. These are the numbers. You look at practice performance, no matter how old a practice is, no matter how big or small a practice is. If you look at the production of a practice, the performance of it, it all ties back to these numbers, right? So your homework from here then is to take your checklist, take your revenue modeling checklist and fill it out at 4 time points. One is going to be upon grand opening of your practice. Next is going to be at the 12-month mark, at the 24-month mark, and then at the 36-month mark. And you'll notice that what you're ultimately going to be creating here in forming these calculations, however you go about doing it, I mean, we run them on a 36-month continuum and have some really cool things that we've built into the model. But however you go about doing it, take the time to populate this based on what your vision for your practice is. And again, assessing it at all times points from your grand opening to year 3. And when you put all that together, now you're going to have some real numbers starting to jump out as far as what the revenue potential of your practice is. But there's also a second key thing that I must point out here, and that is that what you're establishing here as your goals in this revenue component of your financial forecast and feasibility analysis, these goals will later become targets when we get into developing your marketing strategy. That's going to come in a future episode. But bear in mind, again, what we're kind of establishing here also are going to be those goals, those benchmarks that we're aiming for that later in your cold start process, you're going to construct your marketing plan around. So we hope you found this valuable. Hey, look, leave comments there in the comments below with your feedback here or topics for future episodes of the Cold Start Corner. And look, be sure to follow us on the socials, subscribe to the Akrinos YouTube channel, and visit the Cold Start Corner at akrinos.com for everything you'll need to plan, develop, and launch your private practice. We look forward to seeing you next time.